the Valve Steam Deck. That is right, everybody. The Valve Steam Deck is something I really wanted to talk about because it is quite important for gaming as a whole. And I feel like in 20 years or so from now, we will be looking back on this and really seeing how much of a revolution it's been for the PC gaming space. And some of you might be asking, why would we think that? Like, it's a Valve Steam Deck. It's literally just Valve's um version of a Switch. So basically, if you guys don't know, Valve is the company behind Steam, which is, I'm pretty sure it's the number one gaming software sales, like on PC. So that is just actually incredible. That they're making their own console. And some of you might be thinking, well, why is it so revolutionary? It's probably just running like Windows or something. Well, that is exactly where you would be wrong. The Valve Steam Deck is running Valve's own version of Linux. That is right. The Linux that most people laugh at when you tell them, oh yeah, I'm just gonna use Linux. Like, most people are like, oh my god, dude, Linux? Like, that's such a unsupported, like, operating system, especially for gaming. But this is where I think Linux users will go from thousands to millions overnight. And I'm not just saying this from, like, no software, like, I don't have any brains to back this up, because if you guys don't know, they are bringing anti-cheat software to Linux. And this is actually insane, because as a Linux gamer, most of the time, popular games use anti-cheats to stop people from, cheating. But because they don't have native Linux support, it's been really hard to play those games, and most of the time you have to run them through a virtual machine or something like that. So previously it has been really hard in the past to actually game on Linux. But most of the people don't know this, but they also might be thinking, well, games have to come out specifically for Linux, right? And that is exactly where you're wrong. Most games don't officially get ported to Linux, but maybe that is for the better, alright? It takes a lot of time to put something from what, I actually don't know how much time it takes, but I'm gonna assume it takes a little bit. It takes some hard work. Why would they spend time to port a game over to Linux when most Linux people just use a compatibility layer? Well, that's exactly what they were thinking. You see, what a Linux compatibility layer is it will basically take the Windows version, or Mac version, I guess, but it's most likely a Windows version, and runs it through this filter almost. And it kind of just makes it work for Linux. Alright, that is, in the lamest terms, what the compatibility layer is. And you can go test out Linux right now, and most games will actually run on Linux. I mean, it's truly revolutionary how far Linux as an operating system has come. But there are some things that it will never become as good as Windows with, and Mac. And that's software. I actually didn't script this. I was trying to think of something that Linux could not do as well as, like, a Windows machine could. But that's where I got you, folks. Linux, I'm going to put all my money that Linux in the next 20 years will blow up and really just become an operating system that is more widespread. Like, most schools use either Chrome OS or Windows 10 for like laptops or computers in like a library or something, this will take that spot. Things will fly like bam, 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 bam. Linux will see more integration and will be in most family computers. And most people will be thinking, like, there's no way. Isn't Linux just like hacking in the terminal? I've literally had kids ask me that. And no, Linux is not spamming buttons in the terminal, alright? Linux, certainly different distributions of Linux have different ways of installing software and tampering with things. And as yes, most do use a terminal for some simple things. Like, it's really simple. The terminal is very easy to install. A lot use UIs. And one that I was thinking of switching to most recently is Zorin OS. So basically, Zorin OS will probably be a big strand of Linux in the next couple years. Not as big as like Ubuntu or, I don't know, Manjaro, I guess, or just Arch in general. But it will be the most clean looking and the most integrated, I would say, because it has a lot of these compatibility layers built in along with drivers, which is something that most people really need with Linux, but have always been kind of a struggle. So I really think as Valve pushes the Steam Deck, as it gets more sales and stuff, more people will want to put their games on Linux, and we will really see a big jump. But to tie it all back together, like I said in the beginning of the video, we will be looking back on this like how we do on some of the very older consoles that really built the ground up for gaming. Like, you look back on the Atari, for example, and you think, wow, this revolutionized gaming as a whole. Alright. And that's pretty much how I think we'll be looking at the Steam Deck. It made something so revolutionary that it will bump Linux gaming in a whole out of the waters. Like, this will be something extremely extraordinary, and I think it will be the best thing that Valve has ever put out in terms of sale and as terms in just hitting the audience, right? This will be great. Maybe as good as Half-Life and Half-Life 2, because those games were really good, but I mean, a console that can change the market in literally like almost overnight success, that will be even better. So, yeah, I will continue updating you guys on Linux gaming and just Valve in general in the, next videos. But I do like this form of commentary style that I'm doing. I'm trying to move away from my idle breakout roots. I'm trying to, try to build myself up in the commentary scene. It's going to be very hard to do, but I certainly think it's manageable. Here in 2021, literally you can do anything and blow up. So, yeah. See you guys in the next one. Peace.